The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's forming a
here. Um, if you want to pack something in, we say you pack a whole bunch of fun into, a few hours. Sometimes you can go a whole entire 7 days and be on a vacation and not have the kind of fun that we had this weekend. It was just awesome. Can you guys hear me? Okay, well, my wife says keep talking. She's the producer over there. So, but yeah, we had a very wonderful weekend, and let me tell you something. It was exciting, man. I mean, from the birthday party on Friday evening, I did my little 2-step during the course of the party and stuff like that. Maria was genuinely and authentically surprised. I mean, because her husband had her believing that for her 60th birthday she was just going to go out to dinner, and we were downstairs in the in the building. They had a beautiful sound. They had a beautiful lounge down there, and man, they had it catered, and it was just awesome. Her expression on her face was just, I mean, priceless. And I think during the whole party, she was just trying to figure out exactly what happened, man. I mean, but she was just, I mean, genuinely surprised. And then we went back up to the house and had a great time. And then, man, we did something, man, on Saturday, man. We just popped up, man, went to the beach, man, and had like I call it brunch. We're supposed to be out there for breakfast, but I think it ended up brunch. And I was just down there a few weeks ago, man, and I did not get in the water. The seaweed was all the way up on the shore. I was like, look, I'm not putting my feet in there. But this time, man, the weather, the sun was out. It was just gorgeous, and you could just see to the bottom of the beach floor. And you can walk out as far as you wanted to walk, and it only come up to like your waist. And man, I had to spend like 3 or 4 hours out there in the water. It was just awesome, man. And so it was a great weekend, great celebration, and it was just awesome. And let me just kind of backtrack for a little bit. Last week we had, Dr. Alex Diaz on, dealing with sports psychology and the mental side of, and mental health issues and different things like that. And it was just great. I mean, if you didn't get a chance to be on last week, man, make sure you go back and hear all the exciting things he had about how we think, about our minds, and how to use them. And this week is going to be awesome too. One of my favorite subjects last week week before was Dr. Randy Clark, when he was dealing with the spiritual side of life, and then Dr. Diaz with the mental side of life, and then This week, man, I'm really excited about this show because we're talking about the creative side of life. I don't know if many of you know, many of you know that I played basketball, and I did okay. I had a chance to play high school, college, and go on to the pros, but I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. In regards to some of the academic struggles I was having when I was younger. But when I was in elementary school, Nathan Hell Elementary School, now Cecil H. Parker Elementary School, the really one thing I had going for me besides gym, gym at the time, was art. I don't know if many of you know, I couldn't find my portfolio book. I got a big portfolio book from all my artwork when I was a little guy all the way up through high school, and art was my outlet from all the stress and struggles that I went through in my life. Anytime there was pressure, stuff like that, I used to just pull out a pad and a pencil and just start to draw some stuff. And Miss Cohen, who was my art teacher, man, she thought that I would be a great artist, and I was really just kind of excited about art because it was something that I did well. I'd rather than write you something, my wife will tell you when we started dating, I used to draw Minnie and Mickey, and I used to draw out all the cards and then put them in the mail and send them off to her. So I used to just draw all these cartoons and animation figures, and that's how I was communicating, because I really loved to draw. I really loved art. I thought that at one time in my life I would be in animation, that I would be doing cartooning and different things like that. So I'm really excited about tonight because anything that has to do with creativity and art, man, is right up my alley. And so I want to jump in it because I know we have our guest. She's waiting. I'm excited to be able to have a conversation and discussion with her this evening. This is going to be powerful. So let me get it out the way. I've seen a whole lot of these pebbles. I didn't throw any in the beach, but this is my pebble that I'm going to drop in the pond. Now, of course, I don't have no water here, but I'm going to drop it in the pond because I'm expecting the ripple effect of the show. You never know what you will hear from our guests, and that will impact you right now or somewhere down the road. You just never know. A few years later, I said, man, I heard this young lady speaking on the Blueprint podcast, and I remember she said this, and because that's the way my life has been. Sometimes people used to say stuff to me. I didn't receive it right away. It took me a moment before I realized sometimes I had to get punished in order to, in order to receive the message. But somewhere down the line, you will receive the message, hopefully before it's too late. So let me jump right into this. I want to get into my book of the week, Clumsy Callie and Alice Fagan, and the illustrator is Victoria Robustello, who is my guest this evening. Robustello. Yeah. Well, Victoria is my guest this evening, and it's I've known Victoria for a while now, and so I'm really looking forward to this. And if you get a chance, be supportive. You've seen the book. Can we put that back up for a second? I think I've seen it on Amazon. Maybe Victoria will tell us. And so all the pictures inside, Victoria did. And so I'm excited about that. And actually, I was at my wife's place of business, and I was having a conversation with her mom, and she was showing me all the stuff in her office, and she was so excited, that her daughter was doing so many special things. I said, man, I'm gonna have to have her on the podcast, and here we are, right? here we are, just a couple of months later, and she's going to be on this evening. So make sure, Clumsy Callie. I'm sure she's going to explain more about what that is, because our young people are growing up in tough times today, and so we need to hear stories or read stories, and see video and movies that are positive, that keep our kids' minds straight, particularly in this pandemic. So, and also the word of the week is amazing. That I was thinking of this word because I seen Victoria's artwork, right, over the years, and she's done some amazing stuff, man. And that word amazing means, for me, it means awesome. Um, you know, something that's outstanding, as you can see in that picture, man. I guess if I seen that cloud right there that's in that picture, I would be amazingly getting out of there, because it looks like it's going to be, you know, some kind of rocket ship about to explode on the earth somewhere. But, but she's amazing. Her artwork is amazing. And the word amazing, if somebody says that you're amazing, right, take that as a genuine and powerful comment. So, and then this week, Hill and Pierce Hopper affirmation. you know I always say you got to say things to yourself when you get up in the morning, because there's so much negative stuff around you. So you might as well set the barometer for your day, set the atmosphere, uh, set the environment. When you wake up like you want to wake up. you know uh, don't wake up thinking about all the negative things that could happen, man, but wake up in the morning and you say something to yourself that sets the atmosphere for you. And if we can, it says, I am love, I am purpose, and I was made with divine intentions. Yeah, we were divinely made. I like that. And and uh and also, of course, I added to the show my music of the week and movie of the week. And now, you know, everybody knows out there that I have a grandson and a granddaughter, right? And I think I got two more on the way, Teresa and I. And let me tell you something, Cocoa Melon. Man, them grandkids are hypnotized when Cocoa Melon come on. I mean, matter of fact, I don't know any kid that when you turn on Cocoa Melon, they hear that little do 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 do, and them little kids just get hypnotized. They're like zombies, man. You can't, if you turn it off, man, you're gonna be in for a fight. But I love Cocoa Melon, man. And I don't know if Dakota's listening, man, but the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. You guys know what I'm saying. But my favorite one with him is the people on the bus go up and down, up and down, up and down. The children on the bus go up and down all through the town. So man, the other day I could not get any of these songs out my head. I just kept singing these songs all day long. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. What Cocoa Melon will do to you, it will hypnotize you. And then my movie of the week is Home. If you didn't get a chance to see it, right, and you love animation, please check out Home. I think it's on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. But it's just an awesome movie. And so, and as we move forward, I want to do a shout out to my main man JB Smoove, who won an Emmy. Yeah, he won an Emmy award. Hey, yeah. I mean, he moving up in the world, man. JB Smoove, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and all these movies. When I talked to him last week, man, he was shooting a movie in Las Vegas. Man, he just doing big things. And of course, you see him on the Caesar commercials. He was out there shooting some Caesar commercials. So congratulations to my good buddy, good friend, JB Smoove, on winning his first Emmy award. And That's just awesome. And then looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to next week. We got Dr. Evelyn Collins on the show. She's the founder, director, principal of the Denzel Washington School of Arts, and we're looking forward to that as well. And she's going to be awesome. And man, look, hey, we just keep getting blessed with tremendous people coming on to the podcast and sharing their life and their story. So without further ado, let me show you this video here. This is going to be awesome. And then I'm going to introduce my guest for this evening. Hey, Victoria, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, this was easy. This is awesome. And hey, let me get started. Sometimes I don't know how I'm gonna flow, but just looking at that artwork, looking at and looking at the artwork and stuff like that, man. I like wow. Let me ask you this question since I've seen all that wonderful artwork. Now, do you have any favorite uh, animation movies? I mean, what's some of your when you think about it? What's some of your favorite animation?
I just watched Raya and the Last Dragon and I thought it was pretty amazing. But my absolute favorite is Into the Spider-Verse. It kind of incorporates all these different comic book styles and it's really innovative and it's nothing like I've ever seen before in animation.
Okay, okay. And what do you think about it? See, now I when I grew up in kind of Disney with Disney, right? Disney was the Sunday night family get around the television and watching Disney, and of course Mickey Mouse and Minnie and Donald Duck and all those things. And I know you're you're a lot younger than I am, so it's a whole new world out there now. Cartoons back in the day were amazing, and so what do you think of all the stuff that's happening now?
Yeah, it's funny. When you said that you started out drawing Mickey and Minnie, that's really how I started out too, just copying cartoons, and we're a big Disney family. So definitely grew up with the big Disney influence. It's amazing to me that it all started with one idea and how much it's expanded.
Well, yeah. I mean, now let's see that picture again because that's one of my favorites, right? I mean, man, you was into it at that age.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always, ever since I was a kid, I would just sprawl out in front of my TV with my 64 pack of crayons, and I would try to copy the characters that were running across the screen.
Oh, now that had to be hard. That's a little bit different there. Yeah, because they come across the screen so fast, right? And if you were picking them up, man,
There was actually a segment on Nickelodeon during the commercials that they would show you how to draw Cosmo and Wanda from the Fairy Odd Parents. So I would I would run and grab it and try to do it as fast as I can. There wasn't DVR, so I couldn't stop it, but
okay, yeah, that's true. TV was a little different too. You could pause stuff and restart it, and yeah. So and so who's your favorite? I mean, of all the, it wouldn't be just one because I don't, I have more than one favorite cartoon character or animation character. Which one is, you got a few or one or two?
I have trouble picking favorites a lot of the time. I kind of like different elements of different characters and appreciate it, and then I like creating my own characters off of what I like in others.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna come back to the art, but I just I throw it out there because I'm a big animation person. I love watching some amazing animation movies. I love watching cartoons. I love the mind of people who could can create those things. I've I wrote a number of things about Walt Disney. I've read a lot of Walt Disney stuff, and you could see how his foundation has caused for all these other now uh, Pixar and all these other uh, creative works that are coming out now, man. And I think I mentioned earlier in the show, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the spiritual life, and then I was talking about the mental life. Now, here's creativity, right? And people don't know that your mind is so marvelous that you could create, just almost anything, out your mind, and so, um, yeah. I mean, do you have a favorite, you like your favorite animation movie?
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I got to see Into the Spider Verse because you talk about that so highly. I got to put that on my list to go check.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all. That's awesome. So now I want to, before we get back into the whole art and how this whole thing evolved, um, you know, three questions I kind of play around with when I start the show is the importance of family, the importance of faith, right, and the importance of education. So, kind of take me through family, mom, dad, because we're trying to get to know who's Victoria.
Yeah, I am very fortunate to have grown up in a very supportive household. Both of my parents seeing that I was creative at a very early age and just doing whatever they could to help me. My mom got me art lessons for a short period of time that I learned with a teacher how to draw faces at a very young age. My grandmother, I would knit quilts with her. I would do all craftsy things with her. My brother, who is very into animation and games, I would I would draw characters to try to impress him of his favorite characters. But yeah, and my dad, who is talented himself, he can draw cars from his imagination, which I am still amazed at. But I grew up in, they don't like to believe it, but I believe it's a very creative household, and they've always been very supportive in me pursuing it.
Well, yeah, you know, your father is a lover of cars, so um, it's something we had, you know, we have in common because my father was a big car guy, right? Believe it or not, that's how I started. My father used to race some cars with some other family members, and I like those big wheels on the back of the car, you know, the big giant wheels. So I used to draw the car out, make those big giant wheels and spin them and stuff like that. And so so you saying the creative side of you comes from your dad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so. But I think of creativity as it could be in so many different kinds of forms. It doesn't have to just be limited to drawing. So I think everyone in my family has a little bit of creativity.
Okay, so what's your mom's creativity?
I think she's a people person. I think my mom is creative in how she handles conversations and interacting with people. Um, yeah, and fashion. She's very expressive in her fashion and how she decorates the home.
Well, well, yeah, you don't want to limit creativity, right?
Agreed.
My mother's a very creative cooker, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if you probably hadn't heard this story, but you know, one time we was in church, and one of the ladies, she was, you know, mentioned some things about people, almost like what they were going to be or what they were going to do, and we were sitting in you know in the congregation said, and so she called out Isaiah. You know Isaiah, my my youngest son. Now she called out Isaiah. She said, "Young man, stand up." You know, so he stood up, and she said, "You're gonna be a great artist like that." And I'm thinking to myself, now he's like in high school or just about to get out of high school. I said, haven't seen Isaiah draw anything ever, right? So I was like, is this gonna be true or not? You know, but you know what it was? When you see Isaiah create flyers and t-shirts and all the stuff he does on social media, that's creative too. So when we're not gonna limit creativity, right? So we all have some creativity in us somewhere. So, so talk a little bit more about mom and dad, siblings, and yeah,
Well, there's my little nephew who is adorable. And I think even hanging out with kids, I get some more creative energy because they're constantly playing and exploring. And it's really been a great experience to just have someone so young in my life exploring things for the first time because it allows me to play a little bit too.
yeah. You never know. He may be he may be a character of yours. Oh
That'd be cute.
yeah. So and your brother,
Yeah, yeah. He's a very talented writer too. So I mean, in the future, who knows? I might collaborate with him, but I think that's where his creativity is. He's got a great mind.
well, yeah, that's important too. Yeah, definitely. So, uh, you have this. You realize you have this talent, right? And so, all through, talk a little bit about the educational side of it. You know, going through this, because most people, like some parents, I'm not saying I'm not gonna paint with a broad brush, but some parents will say, you say, well, I want to sing, right? And some, you know, some kids say, I want to sing and I want to dance, you know, or I want to be an artist. And some parents back in the day, I don't know about today, they would say, "Oh, you need to find something practical to do. You can't make any money doing this, you know." So it seems like your mom had been encouraging, right? And so what happens? You go through elementary school, middle school, high school, and you still have this passion for it.
Yeah. I've I've always kept working at it. It's been a constant in my life. It's never gone away. I've always been creating. And and you can see it. I mean, looking at the pictures in the beginning that you showed, I'm cringing over them, but it shows how much I've improved because I can't look at them without wanting to correct so many things. But now I feel like I've adjusted, I've grown, and at the time that I created them, I was very proud of them. I would go downstairs and show mom, but now, I mean, you kind of just keep seeing the next thing, and you go down that line of seeing what's next. And there are a lot of successful people in singing and dancing and in art. I'm working for an artist right now called Lady Pink, and I've also worked for another fine artist that was Ron English, and they're traveling all around the world doing murals, selling their paintings, interviewing with big people. So there are successful people, and they just let their passion drive them.
Well, yeah, definitely. And remember, this is interactive. So if you have any questions for Victoria, hey, don't hesitate to put them on the bottom of the screen. We'll try to answer as many of them as we can. And and we're also here, tonight. We want to be supportive, as I've been in the past. We've been supportive because a lot of the arts don't get support, right? And so I've had musicians who have been on the show, and we were pushing for arts education, music education, and the support of our artists and our musicians. And so we definitely want to make sure that, hey, if your kid has a talent, tonight you're going to see what can happen with that talent, and what can happen when you follow your passion and your gifts. So so talk to me a little bit about going through high school and the whole arts, and the whole social life arts and all those things that were going on at the time.
Yeah, so in high school, that was when I started painting, actually, and I had the best teacher. Her name was Rebecca Zielinski. I am still in contact with her,
Okay.
and she would really respond to each student and what they were passionate about, and then saw where they can push themselves to be their best. And she really helped me to do that, and gave me resources to do my best work.
Hmm.
Yeah, so in my senior year of high school, I had to create a concentration, which was a body of work of 12 pieces that had a theme to it. So I was kind of exploring personalities and identity, and I would interview people, see what kind of personality they had, what kind of activities they liked, and then incorporate those elements on their face in an abstract way, or with the colors. If they were calmer, I would make them more blue. If they were more energetic, more oranges. And that was kind of when I found my voice in art, where I can incorporate my own thoughts and feelings into what I'm illustrating. And then I went to SUNY New Paltz for drawing and painting, a Bachelor in Fine Arts. And then I had my thesis show where I explored more of my own body of work. And kind of talking about what you were talking about spirituality and the mind. My thesis focused on that. So I was talking about different elements of the body, and of the spirit and the mind, and how we interact with each other, how we interact with ourselves, interpersonal relationships, intrapersonal, and that was what I explored visually.
Yeah, and because you see, is you have this intertwining of, when you say the arts, because same thing when you just said, the same thing happens in communication, right? Communication happens like that creative, like the arts. And it's so powerful, man, that you're talking about how different the creativities can be. And the other thing I noticed is that in some of your work, right, most of us just start out with the drawing aspect of it, right? And then you mentioned coming into high school, you started getting into the painting. So which one do you enjoy more, one more than the other, or are they on the same level?
I go back and forth, but I love painting for color. Even in digital, I can use color, but pencil's great for gestural work of getting lines down quick. sometimes I'll draw and then paint over it. That works really well. And but I'm just obsessed with color and how it can affect the mood of a painting.
Well, yeah, I think that's for me. Although most of my work, whenever I can, one of these days I'm gonna show all y'all out here some of my stuff. You can see I didn't deal a whole lot with color. You know, going to do. I was in a portrait class, and in high school, and some of the portraits that I did of some different people and stuff like that, they were mostly black and white, right? And so I didn't do a whole lot with color until later on when I would start drawing my cards and start doing the animation stuff, the cartooning and stuff like that. Then it started getting in more. I'm the color person. You gotta the vibrant colors like I seen in some of the pictures that have popped up there. Um, just awesome stuff that attracts me. When I see colors and I see animation, and I see those things. I got to just stop and pause. And we seeing some of your works that are popping up there right now. And so talk about a little bit down, of some of the different styles. Like, well, you're talking about painting,
Mhm.
right? I guess that's drawing, sketching, you know. And what I like about art is sometimes when you start the piece, I used to try to teach an art class, and from what my perspective or experience was, is just put something down lightly, right? And because I think in life, uh, you either want to draw or you in life you want to be an artist, right? And anybody can throw something down on paper, right? But to be an artist, you have to perfect it, and it comes in stages, before you get to your final piece, right? You got to perfect that. So talk a little bit about the different levels of art that you have experienced.
Yeah, so um, you could see that I went from hyper realistic portraiture to now I'm shifting towards more narrative art, so more storytelling. When I was doing the realistic paintings, though, and they would hang in a gallery, my favorite part was how people would interact with them, and everyone was sure that it was about this one thing. But it was amazing to me that that was the magical thing because people would connect to it in a different way and it resonates with every person in a different way, and I was so fascinated with their perspective. So I think that is where I fell in love with telling a story from a perspective, and that's kind of where I'm going towards now.
It's telling the story.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what Losey was mentioning to us several years ago about just getting up to act, the difference in getting up to act and the difference in telling a story. He started to say, "Well, I like telling stories, right?" And I see. I think we got a question down there, right? Who are some of your biggest inspirations?
Ooh.
Yeah.
In high school, my biggest inspiration was Lee Price. I was fascinated with her. She had these beautiful life-size paintings of herself, and me and my friend would obsess over her. And we found out that she lives in the Hudson Valley, so we freaked out over that a little bit more too. Um, yeah, narrative art. I really love this illustrator Piccolo that he does comics. So I've been into those lately.
Or doing a actual like comic book or
Yeah, he does comic book illustrations. So
okay.
it's interesting to see him take characters and make them his own.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we can all. Well, I know my wife and I can attest because most of the things as a kid I looked at in the newspaper. before sports,
Hmm.
the comics. You know, you're probably a little too old, too young for Beetle Bailey.
I don't know who that is.
See, I knew you know that one. You know, or some of the illustrations that were advertisement was, particularly for getting stronger. You know, they showed you, the bully kicking the sand in the face of the little skinny guy, right? And then he had to go eat his vitamins or whatever, and then he got bigger one day, so a lot of advertisement were in art form as well. So yeah, that I mean, cartoon is a big thing. People think it's gone, but it's not gone. And the other thing I really enjoy is to see all my favorite characters have actually come to life. They're now out of the comic books, and like you see them on the big screen now. So, what do you think about that?
I love it. I love it so much. Even how you were saying with Disney before, how they've taken on Marvel, and how I said that Into the Spider Verse was my favorite film. Like, the head animator actually went to school, I think, in Washingtonville, which is in the Hudson Valley. And there's one scene in the movie that they take inspiration from the Hudson Valley, and it's great to connect with it, but it's also amazing to see what they do with the characters and how they give a personal feel to their story.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so, yeah, man. Let's talk a little bit more about art and your love for it. I think we got another question down there before you answer that question. It says, before you started your artwork, do you envision the whole picture, finished product, or does the complete work come out of the way you envisioned it?
I try to have a plan in the beginning, but sometimes plans change. And usually, when they do change, it's for the better. You can recognize how something's not working, or it just happens naturally that sometimes I get an intuitive feeling to change something and it ends up working. So um, I try to have a plan in the beginning, try to start general, and then get really detailed. And that seems to be effective for me.
Oh, we got another question down there, right? How do you
Yeah.
feel when you complete an assignment and and the person is happy?
Happy clients make me happy. Yeah, that's even today I was working on a mural and having all these people walk by and say, "Wow, that looks great, guys. Keep it up." It's so uplifting, and to have something in their own community. Yeah, that's where I was working today. Um, yeah, it's always been uplifting. There was also this time in college that I was working on a 6 foot giant life size portrait, and I had it spread across my dorm room floor. And it was the best way to make friends because all these people would walk by and say, "Whoa, what are you doing?" They were so curious about it. And it was, um, yeah, just having that feedback from people was really uplifting. And I'm passionate about it, and seeing people get excited about it makes me even more excited.
Well, yeah, especially when you're thinking like, man, to yourself as you walk by, man, I wish I could do that. Well, like one time I was in college and a guy was playing in our dorm. It was like four separate dorms, but there was a major floor, and there was a piano in each section, right? And he was just down there playing, and so somebody would say, "Can you play this?" And he from ear he would just play it. I was like thinking in my mind, if I could just do that, right? So and then I'm sure them the individuals walking by see you doing your thing. I'm sure a lot of people said, I wish she's talented. I wish I could do that, seeing a great dancer, somebody just get on the floor and just get rhythm and start dancing. Yeah, I mean, I always talk about on the show that particularly in my book From the Boys and Girls Club to the NBA, Life on a Narrow Road, I talk in the very beginning of the book, in the opening of the book, I said that everybody's born with a gift and a purpose for that gift. So there's a purpose for your gift, right? And to tell those stories like we're doing tonight. We're telling these stories with the hope that somebody will hear it, right? And that somebody would either be blessed by it, inspired by it, encouraged, and want to go and do something, um, with their life by what they are seeing from you tonight. Is that Mark Wellington, right? What advice would you give to a young person today thinking of pursuing an education and career in arts? What should they focus on, and what should they consider avoiding?
Yeah, so good question. If you're thinking of pursuing something, you have to just go after the thing you want, and you can't let anything stop you. You can't let any rejection stop you.
Ah, looks like we lost Victoria. She'll be back. Yeah, she'll definitely be back.
I got booted off. It blue screen. That was fun. But as I was saying, if you're thinking of pursuing something, you have to find whatever means to make it happen. What you should consider avoiding. Um, I feel like whatever feels right, you have to just go towards that. If you have a gut feeling of strong gut feelings, if you have a gut feeling that something's not for you, don't go with it. I think it's a very personal thing, and it changes on the person.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because some careers, and I know, uh, with I have this discussion with my son Losey, who's in acting, right? You know, I think one other thing is that you love something, right? And that some things take longer to get success than others, and I think the most important, I think it's a guy named Robert Daniels. He's from Mount Vernon, right? And I think you can go on Facebook, and African American gentleman, he had like almost pure white hair. He was a tremendous uh, track runner back in the day. We just remember hearing, man, you should see Robert Daniels run, right? But he became this artist as well now, and in his age, he's always creating this art, right? And people, I don't even know where he's living at now, but I just see him all the time creating art, and people appreciating it, because sometimes art is appreciated over time, and I think one of the other things too is that um, you talk a little bit about clumsy Callie, because you didn't write it, but you illustrated it, right? And what is it to be an illustrator? What is that? And your impact on the story.
Yeah, so I signed on with a publisher. Their uh, headquarters is in Texas. They're called Hearn Publications, and that's where I got connected with Alicia. And I asked her questions about the story, and we came up with this character. And it deals with a girl who's getting bullied and has low self confidence, and she's clumsy. And in the end, she kind of finds a way to accept herself and I think her having that confidence kind of attracts that energy into her life. So she finds people who are more uplifting to her, and the bullying kind of stops. Yeah, so it's a story about overcoming. My being in the process of it was really interesting to take a manuscript, take the written material, and visualize it. So create the visual story, incorporating someone else's vision and your own, and how you see it.
Right. So now this is another whole avenue. Then, okay, I'm gonna paint this picture and I'm gonna show it to somebody, and hopefully they'll buy it. Right? And then and now, you say, okay, now you're saying I'm gonna take somebody else's stuff and I'm gonna bring it to life by virtual pictures, right? And it is another means of resource, right? And so how do you like that? I mean,
I love it. I loved illustrating it. And I think in the future it would be amazing to have my own story or something that I can have more say on the perspective. But for having my first book, it was wonderful, and I loved the story. It was a very sweet story, and the visuals were really fun to play with.
oh yeah, definitely, and it speaks to a number of not just kids today, but adults who's been clumsy Cali, right, and who's had to overcome and grow up and become adults and move forward. And there are some kids who don't move forward, right, and so this story is so powerful because so many people can't deal with some of the peer pressure that people put on people, growing up, which is sad, right? It's sad that we would tease somebody, um, that somebody's disabled, we would laugh at them, all those kind of things like that. So, yeah. Um, so I think there's, yeah. Well, what was one of the hardest and toughest assignments for you?
Oh, there was there was one assignment in college that was I had to build a wooden table, and we had a month to do it, and the professor wanted it done in a certain process. I had to make a quarter size model of it out of clay and try to situate how it was going to work. And it was it was the last week of the assignment, and he came up to me and told me, I think it's time we consider you taking an F on the assignment and dropping the class.
Wow.
And I I was very confused by it because I knew that there was going to be a table on his desk on Monday. He asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I'm going to continue working. And I scratched the model that I was supposed to do because I was very set on doing it the way that I saw it in my brain. And there it was, sure enough, on his desk on on that Monday. And I think I'm driven by proving people wrong sometimes, um, maybe to a fault, but it was a fun experience of being able to show my potential and how much I believed in my own ability to get this table done in a weekend.
A weekend.
It was done in a weekend.
Okay, so now was the table already set like that, or you had to create all of everything that?
All of it. It was all a giant how big was it? It was a huge plank of wood. That's all that was. And I stacked it and I glued it for that middle part. I sanded it down with that angle grinder over there. And I created those joints. You could see those little rectangles. That's where the legs fit in. So the table's upside down right now.
Right.
It was all just a piece of ash wood, and then I painted it to look like an abstract heart, something that would be out of a human body, because
Right.
I thought it would be fun to mix that with a very angular structural table,
So
and it
that's
worked out.
so that's supposed to be a heart underneath the
Kind
table.
of. I wanted just to look like something that would be bodily, that looked like it belonged in a human body and not dripping from a table.
Yeah, that's all.
Because why not?
Yeah,
Because
why not? Yeah. Well, I mean, what was his response?
Yeah, he he didn't have a lot of words to say. He gave me an A,
Wow.
which is great. Um, but the thing was, I never doubted it. There wasn't a second, even though he was doubting me the entire time. I didn't get brought down by it. So I think that was a lesson I learned there. That regardless of what someone else is saying, you know your own ability, you know what you're capable of, and it's fun proving people wrong sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. So we got another question, but I mean this is each week I always talk about that. One of my guests or any one of my guests will give what I consider is a my grandfather. I always say my grandfather used to say to me back in the day, "Come here, boy, I got a nugget for you," and I was always looking for this golden nugget, but it was always his words of wisdom. And I always say that the individuals I interview, they always have nuggets, or we call them today dropping dimes, something that's important. And you just dropped that because you could have turned around and gave up, right? And you didn't have much time, right, to
Mhm.
get it done, right? so, uh, so for all say something to out there to someone who's maybe going through something like this, a tough time, and your back is against the wall. Say something to encourage them right now.
Yeah, any obstacle in your way, you can't have your mind focused on that. You have to get your mind focused on the goal and what you're going towards. Never what you're running away from, always what you're going towards.
I like that right there. So I think we got another question down there. Uh, how do you overcome creative blocks?
Sometimes when I have a creative block, I find that I need to put the work away and go outside, breathe in some fresh air, and give my mind a little bit of a break. Usually, it's a creative block from overworking myself, overthinking it. I think creativity flows; it happens naturally, and when you feel stressed, I think it's a sign to just relieve that stress a little bit, and it'll continue flowing again once you find some calmness.
Right. And I think the one of the things I was thinking about, like, what do you see, like, with what's happening now? Because this is just how long you've been out of how long ago did you graduate?
A year ago, yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, so you just right in the beginning, right? I mean, graduating, uh, you know, from high school, going to college, graduating, from college, and now you're right here in the beginning of it. I mean, one of the authors, one of my favorite authors, you know, Bishop T.D. Jakes, he asked a question in his book, Instinct, right? A lot of people know how to take off in the plane, right? A lot of people know how to level off in the plane, right? But what is the future? Because what do you see in the future? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, I see myself creating my own story, and creating a graphic novel. That's what I see in the near future. Long future, I mean, we'll see. I think just trusting it, having faith in the system, and that it'll continue to guide me what's right. It has so far, so.
Okay, so the near future, or
Mhm.
in the short term, is to create this graphic novel, uh, and you want it ultimately to be either what is it, animation, a movie?
So it would be illustration. So it would be book illustrations,
Okay,
but my own story. I see that as being the next step. Then from there, I mean, narrative art can be storyboard art for animation. So similar to the book, actually, going from a manuscript to creating the visuals. That I would love that direction, but anything I'm able to tell a story with and watch people connect to, that's the meaning for me. That's my why. So
That's your why. Okay, why
that's
did
my
you say?
why.
So talk to me about why you said that's my why, and what does a why mean? What tell us about a why.
That's why I do it. That's I mean, but besides always having been passionate about it, I've always connected to other people's work, and it's always inspired me. So that's kind of how I give back, and that's how this thing keeps flowing. We keep passion inspires. So if I keep being passionate about what I am, then other people will keep being passionate, and it'll keep flowing. We'll keep creating cool stuff.
Yeah, because why I asked you that question because um, I was in well my wife wasn't with me, so I could go into Barnes and Nobles and not be bothered. But I could just go in there and just kind of go through all the books and stuff like that. And I saw the book. It all begins with why, right? And a big red Y, YH, WHY, why, and I was reading the book. I actually purchased the book and I was reading it and happened to go to a practice that my wife had, and one of the young ladies saw me reading the book and she picked it up. She said, "Can I see that for a moment?" And she picked it up and she said, "Can I have this?" I was like thinking in my head, I just bought this, and she literally took the book, and every time she's on the Facebook or something like she sees, she always says, "Thank you for getting me started with my why."
Wow.
And so I think everybody has to ask the question, what is our why? Right. And evidently you found your why.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do, you know, to give it all, give it all to the why, no matter what comes. So um yeah, so I want to salute you on that because I mean you're a young lady and you just getting started, man. And some people don't know why. They still trying to figure it out. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what's going on. But we have some pictures here, um, and so tell us a little bit about some of these pictures we're gonna pop up here.
Yeah, this was for a contest in high school for VFW. So it was focusing on veterans and um, people giving their life to their service, and um, yeah, showing the different categories and how they protect people at home.
Right. No, it's great, great picture. Um, and you won an award for it.
Yeah, that was through VFW in high school.
Yeah, you just said, yep, no big deal. And this picture.
Yeah, this was part of my thesis actually. So how I was saying about interpersonal relationships.
Hmm.
Um, this was examining my friendship with my roommate, and how I thought of our friendship was I would I would think a lot and I would come up with all these ideas, and she would kind of um, keep me grounded in like a very emotional way. She's just like a very comforting, calm person. And I'm very energetic and sometimes all over the place and frantic, but we really balance each other out. And I kind of saw it as a yin yang almost, of like a cycle that she'd she'd calmly pour her emotions into me, and then I'd create all this energy going the other way.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I really like that a lot. And because you mentioned that is that communication, interpersonal communication,
Hmm.
right? So that's a relationship piece. I like that. Mass communication, one-on-one communication, mass media communication. So you're communicating through art. So there's another picture here that we have.
Yeah, how we were talking about that animation before. This is actually off of one of the characters, Gwen Stacy, and I was creating. She's kind of like a female Spider-Man, so I was narrating a scene where she gets bit by a radioactive spider while she's drumming. And it was fun to create a scene in the story.
Oh, so is it out or is it?
That was just for fun.
Just for fun? Okay, okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
just fan art.
So maybe we'll see that on the screen one of these days. How about this one?
This one, I don't really. This was actually at the start of the pandemic, or I started it right before the pandemic, and I kind of finished it after. There was a lot of things going on, and I think I needed a period of rest after this. This is probably the last painting I did for a while, actually, before I moved to digital. The background was a fire happening in Mount Beacon, which is close to my house, so that was on my mind. Everything shutting down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, and there's another word, right? There's another word, rest, right? So many of us don't know what that is, what that really means. We just think going to sleep, right? But really, the ability to relax. To how do we manage our stress? You know, looks like you're dealing with the fire, you're dealing with the pandemic, right? Okay, let me rest. And then here, I think I know who this is.
Yeah, you might know more about him than I do, actually. That was a logo for your son, for Isaiah.
Yeah, yeah. That's literally my first coach, right? When I was a little kid,
Mhm.
who passed recently. And he was my first coach, CJ Calvin Jones. All the kids call him CJ. He's a little guy, right? You see a bunch of little kids running around. He might be in there with him. You think he was one of the kids, right? And man, that's awesome right there. I didn't. Uh, Patrice showed me this before the other day, and I just looked at it. And then today, when I looked at it and I looked into it, I could like that's CJ, like that. I mean, you capture them like perfectly. Yeah, you got every all features and everything. Man, I felt his spirit
Mhm.
when I recognized the picture. That was awesome, man. And then you got some family members. You got Isaiah, right? And then you did a picture of Aunt Sweet, who would pass recently. You got
Mhm.
Isaiah, you captured Isaiah good too. Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
That was done a long time ago, so you could see the improvement from the two.
Yes. No, I could see it, you know, and I could see you put in some work and then here
Mhm.
now you started doing some of these illustrations based on my wife Patrice's books, right? And this is the perfect butterfly. We got to get those books out there, man. And then yeah, Travis, and this is the one. Let me hear your raw. I like that. And Mikey, yeah, little Mikey. Let me hear your raw. And then was that swoop swoop swish swish? Yeah. I mean, those are awesome illustrations. I think we got another. What is your favorite medium?
So right now it's been digital. I find that I can incorporate all the skills I've learned and and do different things with it. I might be moving towards 3D illustration, or animation too. It opens up a lot of different avenues for what I can create. So that's where my interest has been lately.
So what is digital?
Yeah. So I right now I'm drawing on a tablet, with this little pencil, and
Okay.
it's very similar to drawing on paper. You're just able to do different things. It has a different look and feel. My book is illustrated all digitally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Is it better than the original way? Colors? Is it better?
I think it can be. Sometimes I'll scan in a picture, or I'll take a picture that I've drawn, and then I'll put it in the program and make the colors brighter, or draw on top of it and use that as reference. So yeah, I do think the colors are better. You can get lines cleaner. You could zoom in. You could make it a huge file size. I could make it as big as this room if I wanted to.
Oh, nice. And let me go back to CJ for a minute, because CJ was not only just a coach. Of course, he was a tremendous athlete, but he was an artist. I mean, in a number of the schools, he did a number of murals in elementary schools all throughout Mount Vernon. He did all those Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy, and all the kindergartens. He used to do. They used to ask him, once he did it in one school. Another teacher would ask him, "Hey, could you come over to my school?" So you did him, but he was doing a lot of artwork himself, man. He's very, very creative. So shout out to CJ. May he rest in peace there. We got another question here. Can you explain how colors relate to emotion?
I think when I'm picking colors, it happens naturally, but I'll notice when I look back on paintings I've done that it matched my mood while I was creating it. I think we're just naturally drawn to different colors when we're feeling a different way. I feel like if you were to stand in a gallery, you might be drawn to a specific painting that resonates with your mood at that time. It's kind of how we just attract different things into our life based on how we're feeling.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting at the Boys and Girls Club. Um, my wife and I, we went to a one of our anniversary trips. We went to Bermuda, right? And so when we got to Bermuda, all the houses are like these bright colors. I mean, like pastels, like your real light pinks and blues, and man, and I just got an idea that, man, when I get back to the club, I'm going to paint some of these rooms like that, and it wasn't exactly the right thing to do, because I noticed with the colors, the kids were bouncing off the wall, man. It was like they were on a sugar high all the time. I mean, they go in the game room, whoa, oh my God, everybody's running around crazy. So eventually, about 6 months later, man, we had to change those colors, man. We had to do more soothing colors. Yeah, and colors as can really impact you as well as sounds like music. They can impact you as well. They can stimulate you. They can put you in a different mindset. So yeah, I'm you know what, I'm looking forward to your work. I want to see that. I want to see your illustration. Are you going to write the story? You're going to write everything and then do the illustration for it as well?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, my brother is a great writer, so might have to collaborate with him.
Okay, he
I love collaborating with people too, and like bouncing off ideas. Yeah, two is better than one in that sense.
Yeah, and I got to get back to you on my I did one book. I was talking to you about the other book that I wanted to do, having to do with my first coach, CJ,
Mhm.
around his love for kids, and well, back then it was called the Sonics, right? It was the first two teams I played for, both the Sonics, AB Sonics. But I wanted to write something about that period that taught me a lot about morals, values, and ethics, and friendship. You know, I just got to figure out how to come up with the. Well, I know who the characters are, but what they look like is going to be a different story. Now, I don't know. That's where you come in. Ah,
Yeah.
You figure out how much it's gonna cost and all those kind of things like that. But I think it'd be great for some little kids to see the animation lows. This is gonna be cool. So I gotta trying to see here, because a couple of things I wrote down. I was talking about the dream state. Like, um, do you ever had like a dream state, like you dream about this stuff?
Hmm. I'm not. I'm not sure. I don't think my, which is probably a good thing that I don't dream about it. I think I'd be stressed if I were dreaming about it. Sometimes rest is good.
Well, yeah, it is good, but I used to dream, uh, about playing basketball, and I used to dream about moves I would make and defensive plays I would do, and it took me a little while to calm down before I went to sleep, right? And because my mind is always going, and sometimes when I was preparing something for an art class, and I would be thinking about that thing all night until I calmed down. Just trying to figure out like how you going to put it all together. That's what I call a dream state. When we first started mentioning about the podcast, I just started dreaming about like it's just on my mind, even though I may have or may not have been asleep, but that creativity is messing with you. You just
That's so interesting. I feel like it's very different for me. My dream state would be when I'm in a flow state, when I'm creating, that my mind kind of disappears from me, and I'm in a different headspace when I'm creating. Um, I do get way more creative when I'm sleep deprived, though. I can tell you that. Late at night, I'm so creative. I will create the best stuff, probably because my brain is turned off.
oh, nice, nice. And what was it? Was there a team growing up? Were there a number of individuals like yourself who you were working with, talking with? Was there a team, of individuals like yourself, who had the same dreams?
Yeah, in high school, our AP class was our senior year. It was all of the people who wanted to be art majors and were applying to the College Board AP, so we would get college credit from it. But everyone had their concentrated body of work, and we would come together at the end of every month and give feedback and have conversation about how we were feeling about the pieces. And it inspired me so much to just hear what drove everyone else, where their head was at, and to see things from different perspectives. And it was a time to see. That I cut out.
Right. Yeah. And I think we got a few questions here. I think that looks like your mom, right? When you're not doing art, what are your favorite things to do?
Usually, I, I I enjoy team sports, so I play ultimate frisbee locally, and that's just a good environment for me to clear my head and have a social aspect too. Um, yeah, that's definitely my break from creativity. Although it's creative in a different way, but yeah, that's something I like to do. I like to be outside, um, exercising and hiking.
Yeah. I think we got a few more questions also, right? Um, let's see if we can. All right. Does your daily life find its way into your artwork?
Definitely, I think my artwork is usually telling of my perspective of things. So I think naturally, subconsciously, however it finds its way in, it always does.
Right. Yeah. And uh, is it more fun to be creative, to do creative work, or drawing from pictures?
Definitely creative work. But drawing from pictures, helps to learn different things about when you use a reference, you can do studies, right? I can learn more about the human body. And then once I have that muscle memory, I can incorporate it into my creative work. I like to find a balance between the two, though. Sometimes I'll start with a reference, and then once I have the general shapes down, I can put the reference away and just flow with it.
Yeah, and I think you had there was a picture I was interested in. I want you to tell me a little bit about it. It was one with the green. You know what I'm talking about, Trees? Yeah, we're gonna show you that picture. When I seen it, I was like, wow, okay, well, what are we gonna do with this one here? Oh man, we got it. Hmm. Is what? It's in the video. It's not here, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Ah, the mural. Yeah. Oh,
The
that's my.
mural, but the it looks like like a like a green creature. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that lime green with all the colors in it.
Yeah, so that's actually a leaf. I was doing that yesterday and today. We're painting a giant mural, me and a couple other assistants for the artist that I currently work for. But it's a 150-foot wall lengthwise, and we're painting right under it. You could see a pink praying mantis. It's in its early stages. That's a ladybug where my hand is on. Um, and that's a big leaf. So it's going to be a bug and bird wall, and that's in Highland, New York.
So it's gonna be so that's gonna be on the wall too. I think I don't know if you can see this. Like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got eyes and everything. It almost look like one of the sea creatures or something like that.
See, this is interesting to me because I think. Oh, are you seeing something different? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's different. That I didn't use a reference for. Um, that stemmed off of what I was creating in high school. So kind of sci-fi creatures with flowers growing off of the face.
Yeah, no, no, no. I thought that was cool. I was trying to figure out where you were going with that.
I was talking about the mural that popped up.
Oh no, no, no. I'm saying with that particular picture, because sometimes you draw something and then you have a like you think you got a future for it.
Mhm.
You know. Yeah.
Maybe it'll end up in the sci-fi graphic novel.
Oh no, that's cool. And it, what about like people that do that bring these really kind of these animations, these figures of life, which is the voices.
Yeah, it's another element to it, to creating a believable character that people fall in love with. And I think it's important. They're artists too, voice actors. They pour a bit of themselves into their character, and that's what makes it believable and lovable. When they connect with it, then the audience does too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, we're coming close to an end, but now before we go, let's. We got another question. I think that's your aunt. Yeah. Did you ever think of becoming a clothing designer or doing something other than drawing and painting?
I don't think so. I I think clothing is an expression for me, but I don't see myself yeah, creating. I could create textile, maybe like my art on clothes would be cool, but I don't see myself being a fashion designer.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about these individuals? I know they great artists too. How they are taking now sneakers, right? And they're taking the sneakers and they're putting their artwork. They're getting paid a lot of money to put artwork on the shoe. What do
Yes, they
you
are.
think about
It's cool. It's new. This is what happens with art. It takes different avenues, and it's whatever is going on in pop culture, whatever It mixes with different media too, and yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, your mom said your aunt wants you to design her clothes. She loved your trendy way. I got to see this outfit.
My outfit is not much right now. I'm wearing black.
Oh man, this is gonna be interesting. Uh, so let's talk about a little bit about how people get connected, because it looks like they can get connected in different ways if they want to look at you know want you to do some print art, uh, illustrations. Let's talk about how they get in touch with you. I think we're gonna have some things down at the bottom of the screen, but tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so my website is www.vrobustello.com, and my Instagram is Vic the Illustrator. And on my Instagram, I just post whatever art I've been coming up with lately. And my website has the same stuff, along with a bio, um, and yeah, just my portfolio. I definitely update more about myself in in the Instagram captions and post on my story, whatever's going on with the day. But yep, that's where you can connect.
Okay. And then finally, my final question is that if in case a parent with young kids is listening, or a young person is listening, or somewhere down the road somebody happens to pick this up and tells their son or daughter, "Hey, you looking to be an artist? This, right? What would you leave them some words of encouragement? I mean, about you know if this is their dream or their goal."
Yeah, I think the most successful people are the ones who don't give up on what they believe in. And I mean, I've seen success in every single field. So to support whatever someone's naturally driven towards, I always find myself going back to what I was passionate about when I was younger. I think it always comes back into play in people's lives. Um, People will be in their 20s or 30s, and then they reflect, or older, and reflect on things that they loved when they were younger, and that's where their passion was from. Even if it's not your career, it's important to who you are, I think, and just what you're naturally drawn to. So yeah, if you see that your kid is naturally drawn to something, just support it. Don't try to change them to be anything else. um, just be supportive.
Yeah, and then one final, uh, yeah, talk a little bit about. I got this question here because it's pretty interesting, because when I was thinking about as a secondary career in art, and I was looking at the school curriculum, and I wanted to get to the animation, because I think this is important, because people get discouraged when they see all the other stuff that they have to take, right, to get to where they want to be in regards to their career. They may want to be in animation, but how tough was it for you, right? Because the things that you love to do, but then there's a lot of other stuff you got to do before you could get to what you love to do. So tell me how difficult that was when you were an aspiring artist and you putting your hopes and dreams all into it and you're going for it, but then all of a sudden you get to college and you're taking stuff that look though is not really what you want to do. How did you manage that?
just just seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Seeing, even though I'm taking this wood class and have to build a table in 3 days, at the end I'm going to walk out with my major, and I'm going to be able to do what I love doing. And also seeing every single part of the process as a lesson. There's something to learn from every experience, even bad ones, even rejection. And you can choose to walk away from it, or you can continue down your path and know that what you truly want to do is more important than the obstacles in your way.
Yeah. And I would add to that you have to go through, particularly if you're going to college, to get to where you want to go. And when you walk across that stage, whatever the degree is that you're trying to get, there's some classes or some things that you're going to have to do, right? That you just like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm never going to use this. I don't, but in order to get to that finish line, you got to go through those things, and there's no way around it. So that's why I always tell people, read what you're interested in, because to help you improve your reading and to get stronger in your reading. But the key is read what you're not interested in, because those are some of the things that you have to be able to do. Take those classes that you're not interested in so you can get to those classes that you are. So Victoria, this was awesome. Man, y'all pick up Clumsy Callie and check out Victoria's work. And you can get it on where, Victoria? You can get it it's on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. There might be a link somewhere too. There's a link in my Instagram bio and on my bio on my website.
Right. So, hey, please support Victoria. I'm gonna get my book. I know that. And Victoria, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I definitely will be in touch, man. This was awesome, and man, yeah, I can't say it. When it comes to artwork and yeah, it's just awesome. So again, I want to say, thank you for your support. Thank you for showing up every Sunday to the Blueprint Podcast. I hope you've been blessed by this evening. God bless you guys, and look, have an awesome rest of the week. I know I am, right? I'm just going to speak that into existence. I love you guys, and God bless you.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's More and on Facebook at Lowe's More Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.